The call came in late on April 27, 2021. A desperate mother, Beatrice Zimmerman, was reporting the disappearance of her two daughters, Olivia and Anna. As I stepped into the dimly lit operations room, their faces stared back at me from photographs hastily handed out by colleagues. Olivia, 6 years old, with bright, curious eyes. Anna, barely past her first birthday, her cheeks plump and innocent. Their father, Tomas Gimeno, had picked them up earlier that day, promising to return them by nightfall. He hadn't. The early hours were a flurry of gathering details. Tomas had left Beatrice a cryptic package, a bundle of cash with no explanation. Then, there was the chilling phone call, Tomas's voice calm yet haunting, saying neither she nor anyone else would ever see the girls again. My instincts screamed that this was no simple custody dispute. Something was terribly wrong. We started piecing together Tomas's movements. Surveillance footage showed him arriving at a port with several suitcases. There was no sign of the girls. 2 trips from his car to the boat, loading the bags. The timestamps told a quiet yet horrifying story. He wasn't heading out on a fishing trip. By dawn, we had a timeline. Tomas had deactivated the GPS on his boat and ventured into open waters. Around 2 a.m., he made a final call to Beatrice. He spoke of mistakes, regrets, and emphasized that she would never see her daughters again. It wasn't remorse, it was finality. At the port, officers had encountered him earlier, issuing a warning for violating COVID-19 restrictions. They hadn't searched his car or questioned the contents of the suitcases. The missed opportunity weighed heavily as we analyzed the footage and interviewed the officers involved. Tomas had meticulously planned every step. He wasn't running from the law, he was running from himself. The following day, Tomas's boat was found adrift near Guemar. On board were children's drawings, a hairbow, and traces of blood. Forensics confirmed it was Tomas's. No sign of the girls. The ocean became our main suspect, its vastness hiding secrets we were desperate to uncover. We brought in specialized equipment, sonar and divers. The search area expanded, with every piece of evidence drawing us closer to the unthinkable. The anchor was missing from the boat, a detail that seemed minor until we began connecting dots. His anchor wasn't lost, it was a tool in a macabre plan. Weeks turned into months. Every new day brought sightings and tips, each one leading to dead ends. The media frenzy painted Tomas as either a monster or a desperate father. For us, there was no such debate. The evidence spoke louder than words. A torn sports bag was retrieved from the depths, its contents lost to the currents. Then, the breakthrough: a second bag surfaced intact. Inside, the small, lifeless body of Olivia. The room fell silent when the autopsy report confirmed what we feared: suffocation. Tomas had sedated and killed his daughters before submerging them. The intact bag suggested meticulous care in his sinister task. But where was Anna? The open ocean refused to yield her, despite weeks of intensive search. Beatrice's pain was palpable in every interaction. Her pleas for us to continue the search resonated with every parent on our team. We scoured the seas for weeks, but no trace of Anna or Tomas was ever found. Theories circulated: did he flee to South America? Was he alive, hiding in plain sight? Or did he meet the same watery grave as his daughters? For us, it wasn't about theories. It was about justice for Olivia and Anna. Every piece of evidence told a story of premeditation and betrayal. Tomas wasn't just running from a life he no longer wanted, he was erasing the lives he had created. The statue unveiled in their memory stands as a reminder of what we lost and what we continue to fight for. But for those of us who stood at the edge of the sea, scanning the horizon for answers, the case of Olivia and Anna is a haunting reminder of how deeply one person's darkness can reach. The morning after Tomas's chilling call to Beatrice, we mobilized every resource available. The port where Tomas was last seen became the focal point. Surveillance footage showed his boat leaving and returning, the suitcases absent upon his return. This detail cemented our theory: whatever Tomas had done, it had happened in the water. We examined his home next. The scene was eerily silent, the air thick with a sense of abandonment. The house was disorganized, as though hastily vacated. Large garden bags, commonly used for transporting soil, caught our attention. Several were missing, and the garden itself was in a state of neglect. The fresh disturbance in the soil behind the house raised alarms, but digging revealed nothing. It seemed Tomas had removed the soil, using it for something we had yet to uncover. We questioned Tomas's close associates and family. His parents admitted he had visited their home the previous evening, but they saw no sign of the girls. He had left his beloved dog in their care, an act that struck everyone as strange. Tomas's nonchalant demeanor during his visit raised no immediate suspicions. His calm facade was a hallmark of his calculated plan. The sea held the answers we needed. Specialized sonar equipment and dive teams were deployed. Early searches were fruitless, the vast ocean concealing its secrets. Days later, the discovery of an empty child's car seat floating near Guamar reignited hope and dread. The seat matched one used by Anna. It was a cruel breadcrumb leading us further into the abyss. The break came weeks later. The Angelus Alvarino, a vessel equipped with advanced underwater scanning technology, located and anchored deep on the ocean floor. Nearby, they found 2 sports bags. One was torn open, its contents lost to the currents. The other remained sealed. When retrieved, it revealed a harrowing truth: the body of Olivia. The discovery was devastating, yet it also answered many questions. The autopsy confirmed suffocation, consistent with sedation. The intact bag was meticulously prepared, weighted with the anchor to ensure it sank. This was not a crime of passion, it was premeditated and methodical. Tomas had left nothing to chance. With Olivia's recovery, the focus shifted to finding Anna. The torn bag and the unforgiving currents likely carried her body away, complicating our search. Despite exhaustive efforts, including expanded underwater scans and daily dives, no further evidence emerged. The sea refused to give up Anna. Our search for Tomas was equally fruitless. While theories abounded ranging from suicide at sea to an elaborate escape, there were no concrete leads. A man of Tomas's wealth and connections could have orchestrated a disappearance, but his pattern of behavior suggested otherwise. The careful planning of the murders contrasted sharply with the recklessness of his own fate. The psychological toll on the team was immense. Days were spent scanning the seas, nights revisiting the evidence, searching for overlooked details. Every call from Beatrice, every plea for answers, drove us harder. We were not just searching for a criminal, we were unraveling the depth of one man's betrayal. International attention mounted. Interpol issued alerts, expanding the search globally. Tips poured in from around the world. Tomas and the girls spotted in South America, seen boarding a ship, hiding in remote locations. Each tip was painstakingly investigated, only to lead to dead ends. The cold reality set in: Tomas and Anna might never be found. Beatrice, despite her anguish, remained a pillar of strength. Her calls to continue the search, her public appeals, and her unwavering love for her daughters inspired everyone involved. She demanded justice, not just for her daughters, but for every parent who feared for their children's safety. As the days turned into weeks, and then months, the search transitioned from a rescue mission to a recovery operation. The realization was gut-wrenching, but the truth had to be faced. We had found Olivia. We had unraveled much of Tomas's twisted plan, but the sea held the rest, an unyielding accomplice to an unspeakable crime. For us, the case was far from over. The hunt for Anna and Tomas continued, driven by duty, by justice, and by the memory of 2 innocent lives stolen far too soon. The days following the discovery of Olivia's body were marked by an intensifying effort to piece together the events leading to the tragedy. Every lead was scrutinized, every detail re-examined. It was no longer a question of whether Tomas had committed the crime, but of understanding the full extent of his planning and motivations. Tomas's digital footprint offered the first significant insights. His bank records revealed large withdrawals in the weeks leading up to the murders, amounts far exceeding his typical spending. He had transferred sums to various accounts, some of which were untraceable. Messages sent to close friends, cryptic in nature, hinted at a man preparing for something irreversible. The words goodbye and thank you for everything carried a chilling weight in hindsight. The timeline of April 27th solidified as we examined surveillance footage and phone records. Tomas's movements were deliberate and methodical. After picking up his daughters, he made a brief stop at his home before heading to the port. The footage from the Marina de Santa Cruz showed him unloading 6 suitcases from his car onto the boat. The absence of the girls in the video was consistent with our theory. They were hidden inside the luggage. The discovery of the bags underwater was a breakthrough, but also a devastating confirmation of Tomas's intent. Forensics revealed traces of sedatives in Olivia's body, consistent with the bottles of medication found in Tomas's home. The autopsy confirmed suffocation as the cause of death, a calculated act performed after the sedation had taken effect. Attention turned to the torn bag. presumed to have contained Anna's body. The tear likely occurred during its descent to the ocean floor or upon impact. This tragic detail underscored the meticulous yet ultimately flawed execution of Tomas's plan. The vastness of the sea had thwarted our efforts to recover Anna, a fact that haunted every member of the team. The investigation extended to Tomas's social circle. His parents, though cooperative, were visibly distraught. They insisted they had no knowledge of his intentions, recounting his visit the night of the crime as uneventful. He had left his dog in their care and shown no signs of distress. To them, Tomas's actions defied logic, leaving a trail of pain and confusion in their wake. Interviews with Tomas's friends and acquaintances painted a picture of a man increasingly isolated and agitated in the months before the murders. Though outwardly charming, he had become volatile, obsessed with his ex-partner's new relationship. Witnesses recounted heated arguments where Tomas expressed a deep resentment toward Beatrice and her new life. His behavior grew erratic, marked by sudden outbursts and long periods of silence. Beatrice's relationship with Eric emerged as a central trigger. Tomas's actions seemed rooted in a twisted sense of control and revenge. He could not bear the thought of his daughters being raised by another man, especially one he perceived as a threat to his authority. The attack on Eric months earlier had been a precursor, an eruption of the anger that would later culminate in the unthinkable. Tomas's meticulous planning extended to his escape, or the illusion of it. He had made arrangements suggesting he intended to flee to South America. The financial transactions, the transfer of property to friends, and even the goodbye messages all pointed to a man setting the stage for his disappearance. Yet, his abandoned boat and the discovery of Olivia's body contradicted these preparations. Had he planned to vanish, or had his intentions changed at the last moment? The possibility of accomplices remained an open question. The timing of Tomas's movements, particularly the deactivation of the boat's GPS and the specific areas he chose to navigate, suggested he had help. Theories ranged from a second vessel aiding his escape to a pre-arranged plan with an unknown collaborator. However, no concrete evidence emerged to support these scenarios. The search expanded internationally. Interpol issued alerts and authorities in neighboring countries were briefed. Reports of sightings trickled in, each one a potential breakthrough. Yet, upon investigation, none proved credible. The world had grown smaller in its digital connectivity. Yet Tomas and Anna remained ghosts, their presence felt only in the echoes of their loss. As the days turned to weeks, the emotional toll on Beatrice and her family deepened. Public vigils and demonstrations in support of the family reflected the collective grief of a nation. The case had struck a nerve, sparking debates about domestic violence, parental alienation, and the lengths to which one person might go to inflict pain on another. Within the investigation team, frustration and resolve coexisted. The evidence painted a clear picture of Tomas's actions, but his fate and Anna's whereabouts remained elusive. The unanswered questions loomed large. Had Tomas taken his own life, or had he orchestrated an escape? Was Anna's body forever lost to the sea, or was there still a chance of recovery? We pressed on, driven by the knowledge that justice for Olivia and Anna demanded our unwavering commitment. Every piece of evidence, every lead, no matter how small, was a thread in the intricate web Tomas had left behind. The search for answers was far from over, and the truth, as elusive as it seemed, would not remain hidden forever. As the investigation progressed, the weight of unresolved mysteries grew heavier. Olivia's discovery had been a breakthrough, but the sea seemed determined to keep its secrets regarding Anna and Tomas. Each day began with hope but ended with frustration, as the waves offered no further clues. Forensic analysis of Tomas's boat revealed critical insights. The vessel, found adrift near the port of Guamar, bore evidence of meticulous planning. Blood traces matching Tomas had been found on the deck, but there were no signs of struggle, supporting the theory that the girls were sedated before their lives were taken. Items recovered from the water near the boat, the oxygen cylinder, a duvet cover, and children's drawings added layers to the tragedy. These relics of innocence, now adrift in a sea of despair, painted a haunting image of Tomas's last moments with his daughters. The bags discovered on the ocean floor held the most devastating clues. Olivia's body, carefully placed and weighted with the boat's anchor, spoke to Tomas's chilling precision. The torn bag, presumed to have carried Anna, presented a cruel twist. The immense pressure and ocean currents had likely scattered its contents, making retrieval an almost impossible task. For the dive teams, every descent into the depths was a grim exercise. driven by the hope of giving Anna a final resting place. The involvement of specialized search teams, including the Angelus Alvarino, marked an unprecedented effort. This oceanographic vessel, equipped with advanced technology, scanned the seabed with meticulous precision. Underwater drones combed the area where Tomas's boat had been found, and sonar imaging mapped the surrounding terrain. Despite these advanced tools, the search yielded no further discoveries, leaving the team grappling with the vastness of the Atlantic and the frustrating limits of human capability. Simultaneously, the international aspect of the case deepened. Interpol issued yellow alerts for Tomas and Anna, and authorities in South America and Africa were notified to be on the lookout. Rumors circulated, fueled by unverified sightings and speculative reports. Tomas had left a paper trail of large financial withdrawals and messages to friends indicating plans to flee, but no tangible evidence confirmed his departure from the island. The possibility of an accomplice aiding his escape gained traction, though leads pointing to a second boat or another party remained inconclusive. Beatrice, shattered by the discovery of Olivia's body, became a symbol of resilience in the face of unimaginable grief. Publicly, she maintained a brave front, participating in vigils and speaking to the media. Privately, she was tormented by guilt and unanswered questions. She pleaded with authorities to continue the search for Anna, unable to find peace while her youngest daughter remained missing. The case ignited widespread debates across Spain. Activists and legal experts highlighted the systemic failings that allowed Tomas to carry out his plan. The initial response of the civil guard, dismissive of Beatrice's concerns on the night of the abduction, came under scrutiny. Public outrage demanded accountability, leading to an internal investigation. The findings confirmed negligence, resulting in disciplinary actions against the officers involved. Yet, for Beatrice and her supporters, these measures felt hollow, coming too late to save Olivia and Anna. The broader societal implications of the case resonated deeply. Tomas's actions were classified as an act of vicarious violence and extension of domestic abuse, where a parent harms their children to cause maximum pain to their partner. Advocacy groups called for stronger protective measures for victims of such violence, citing the tragic failure to recognize Tomas's escalating behavior as a warning sign. In the absence of new discoveries, the focus shifted to the psychological profile of Tomas. Interviews with those who knew him revealed a complex individual driven by pride, jealousy, and a need for control. Friends described him as charming and intelligent, but also volatile and possessive. His inability to cope with Beatrice's new relationship and his diminished role as a father had likely fueled his descent into darkness. Theories about Tomas's fate were divided. Some believed he had taken his own life, tying weights to his body and jumping into the sea. Others speculated that he had orchestrated a sophisticated escape, possibly aided by an accomplice. The latter theory gained traction due to the careful planning evident in his actions. However, the absence of any confirmed sightings or financial activity post-April 28 kept both possibilities in play. The search for Tomas and Anna officially ended weeks after Olivia's discovery, but for those involved in the investigation, the case remained open in spirit. Every officer, diver, and analyst carried the weight of unfinished business. The vastness of the sea, the potential involvement of accomplices, and the psychological intricacies of Tomas's actions ensured that the case lingered in their minds long after the search was called off. For Beatrice, the end of the formal search marked the beginning of a new chapter in her grief. She refused to let Anna's memory fade, channeling her pain into advocacy. Her efforts raised awareness about domestic violence and the need for stronger protections for victims and their children. Public monuments and memorials for Olivia and Anna became symbols of a nation's collective mourning, a reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked violence. As an investigator, this case left a mark. The evidence told a story of calculated cruelty, of a man willing to destroy everything to assert his control. Yet, it also revealed the strength of a mother's love and a community's capacity for solidarity. The search for answers continued not just for Anna and Tomas, but for the systemic changes needed to prevent such tragedies in the future. The case, though concluded in an official capacity, left behind a trail of unanswered questions and unhealed wounds. Anna's body was never recovered, and Tomas's fate remains shrouded in uncertainty. Theories abound. Some insist he perished in the sea alongside his daughters, while others are convinced he escaped to some distant country, aided by meticulous planning and unknown accomplices. For the investigators, the case ended not with resolution, but with the stark reality of limits. The ocean had yielded what it could, and the threads of evidence on land had been followed to their end. Every lead had been pursued, every theory considered. Yet the lack of definitive answers created an enduring weight on the team, a reminder of the fragments that can never be pieced together. Beatrice Zimmerman emerged as a symbol of resilience in the face of unspeakable loss. Her advocacy for victims of vicarious violence sparked a national dialogue. The tragedy of Olivia and Anna's deaths became a catalyst for change, prompting calls for stricter measures to protect children caught in domestic disputes and for greater accountability in responding to warning signs of escalating violence. In the wake of the tragedy, the Spanish government introduced reforms aimed at addressing vicarious violence, recognizing the unique and devastating impact such crimes have on families. Laws were strengthened to ensure quicker responses in cases of parental abductions, and resources for victims of domestic abuse were expanded. Despite these efforts, for Beatrice, every day was a reminder of what she had lost. Olivia's funeral, held with the dignity and grace that her short life deserved, was a chance for the community to mourn collectively. Yet, the absence of Anna haunted every moment. The knowledge that her youngest child's body remained lost to the sea compounded the grief, leaving Beatrice in a perpetual state of incompletion. Public memorials to Olivia and Anna were erected across Spain, ensuring their memory would not be forgotten. The bronze statue in Santa Cruz de Tenerife became a place of pilgrimage for those who had followed the case, a silent testimony to innocence lost and a nation's collective sorrow. For those of us who worked on the investigation, the case served as a harsh reminder of the fragility of justice in the face of calculated cruelty. Tomas's actions were a devastating testament to the harm one person can inflict when consumed by jealousy and control. But they also revealed the strength of a mother's love, the resilience of a grieving community, and the unyielding determination of a nation to seek justice for the voiceless. Though the sea may have claimed its secrets, the legacy of Olivia and Anna lives on in the laws passed in their name, in the collective memory of a mourning nation, and in the enduring hope that their story will inspire vigilance and compassion to prevent such tragedies in the future.